Hey everybody, we're going to talk today about the photo recreation project. For this assignment, you're going to recreate a well-known pop culture image. Okay, so this is the handout that you'll be provided with. The first image that came to mind was the album The Pod by Ween. They recreated the album cover for Leonard Cohen's Greatest Hits. You can see the Ween image on the left here and the original image on the right. So you're not limited to simply famous photographs, so you can certainly go that direction if you want to, but you are open to paintings, film stills, movie posters, anything that's well known or even well known within a subculture. It doesn't have to be the most famous image in the world, but something that people would generally be aware of if they followed it. So you can use Photoshop for this assignment if you want. As I say here in the handout, yes, you can manipulate the images using Photoshop, but I strongly encourage you to use the camera for as much of the image as possible. Photoshop and digital effects are often a poor substitute for capturing something real in the image. And then I go on to say, but if you are duplicating yourself in the Abbey Road album cover, that's hard to find the recreation, although certainly you could find a crosswalk. So keep in mind that, I guess an easier way of phrasing that would be this is a photography class. It's not just a digital image class in digital art. So I recommend that you do as much as you can with props, find nice settings that you can work with. As much of the in-camera work as you can do, I think would be to your advantage. So Photoshop is okay, but limit that as much as you can. So my subheading, I entitled the project the John Malkovich Project, and that's somewhat because of this series that he did on this website here, Petapixel. It's going to show a few of the assignments where Malkovich, the famous actor John Malkovich, recreated well-known photographs. So here we have the Dorothea Lange migrant mother, very well-known photograph. He's recreated that. That one's a little more serious, but they get a lot more absurd. So you probably guess he's Alfred Hitchcock here. Well-known Albert Watson photograph. He's Che Guevara here. Andy Warhol. John Lennon. Yoko Ono. Albert Einstein. Pretty realistic likeness there. Marilyn Monroe from the 1962. So of course they're funny, they're absurd. They bring to mind the movie being John Malkovich, which has been in an assignment before. Here he is as Jack Nicholson playing the Joker, so on and on. You can check these out for yourself on the website. They link through the handout. Salvador Dali and Ernest Hemingway. Okay, let me show you a few previous examples. Student named Chelsea of mine did this, and the recreation is on the right. You can see the original poster for Brian De Palma's movie Carrie. You all probably know Carrie. So my student Chelsea had her sister model both as prom queen Carrie and the unfortunately blood-soaked Carrie on the right, as is related to the movie. So she took it to the next level with working with fake blood and the prom dress, and actually working it into the movie poster as well is really nice, and recreating the font and doing all that herself. So it's a really good example of how far you can push the project. It doesn't have to be just a photo recreation, but you could certainly work with some graphic elements in there as well, as Chelsea did. Okay, so we have a really funny take here on the movie Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I think this was probably done as a quarantine-related photo. We can see he's recreated his image down here at the bottom. So you can obviously be funny with this if you want to. There's a really nice Edward Weston. He's a very well-known, famous photographer from the early 20th century. You can see the recreation photo is on the left. The original is on the right. Now, you can work with paintings if you want to do that, not just contemporary, but old photos. So here's a Vermeer painting on the left, and a really nice recreation of that on the right with the student's photo that he took, set everything up. Very, very nice job. Of course, everyone knows the Mona Lisa. Very different take on that. I like the drawn illustrational background to that one. A good example of how you can have something hand done in the project to add to the recreation aspect of it. It doesn't have to just be a photoshopped background. So if he had photoshopped the original Da Vinci background, I think it would have been less effective as the kind of markered version of it gets the idea across, and everybody knows what the image is and they get it without having to even see the original. Let's see, here's a Jan van Eyck painting. These photo recreations became very popular during quarantine because people were stuck inside and they were bored and they were looking for something to do. So you can see a really funny take on that, really interesting use of props and apartment space there. And this actually might be one of my favorites just because the model does such a good job here of recreating the Christina's World famous painting by Andrew Wyeth. I think it's probably from the maybe 40s or 50s. I'm not exactly sure of the date, but they really nailed the pose and the composition lining up really well. So have fun with costumes if you want to do that. You don't have to be in the image yourself. If you want to have a friend or a sibling or a roommate model for you, that's great. A lot of different directions you can go with this. This is a more conceptual assignment, and I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody comes up with.